And welcome to Holding the Space, and today I am here with David Cruickshanks, actor, comedian and campaigner for mental health awareness. Good morning, David, how are you?
Good morning, Lisa. I'm very well, thanks.
It's great to have you on the show. I've been trying to set up an interview with you for the last couple of months. But yeah, you're very much an in-demand guy at the moment. So tell us about David.
David, okay, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Talking about who you are. Well, I'm middle-aged for a start. So I think that means I've had quite a bit of life experience. Started off, I joined the Navy when I was 16, and I thought I was going to have a grand old time sailing the high seas and visiting lots of lovely ports. Very quickly after that, I ended up in a war. So I went through a war, and years I left the Navy, a photographer, which was something I never thought I would do professionally. So I joined the local newspaper, the Five Free Press. I had 3 fantastic years there. And then I went off and I worked in Glasgow for the Daily Record, and I had 7 brilliant years there. And then I decided that wasn't... I always had a bit of one of those things where you just want to see how far you can go with something. So I went to London. I didn't have any idea of a job or anything. I just landed in London. Luckily for me, someone gave me some work in a studio, and I just continued as a photographer in London.
I have to say that's one of the things I love about you, David, because we've known each other for a good few years through the Five Rights community. But you've always come across as someone that's, I'm going to go and do this, and you go and do it, just to see what it's like. And I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's good of you to say that. But I think what happened for me was that I'd heard people talk about regrets. I'd heard people talking about, I wish I'd done that, and I thought, well, you can have those regrets, or you can go and try it and see if it works. And then if it doesn't work, you've tried it. But it's that kind of, being able to say, look, I tried it and it didn't work, or I tried it and it went down this road, and I wasn't expecting something to happen this way, but it happened, But it's just to try and seeing if you're going to be any good at it or not, that I decided to do.
What sparked your interest in photography and media? Was there something that pulled it to you, or?
Well, I was given a camera when I was 12 by my mum and dad, and I took that on a school trip to France. It was a proper camera, so you had to learn how to wind the film on and stuff, and the pictures were absolutely awful, I have to say. They were all... how you get little sticker back from books when you used to get pictures developed at a chemist? I know that's really going back. You used to get a sticker on telling you what you had done wrong.
Yeah.
I used to get a lot of those stickers. But again, it's like, well, you almost learn by making mistakes, and so I just persevered. I probably read the instruction book, which I don't think anybody does now. And it just gave me... I kind of learned by doing, Lisa. I kind of stood there and I took pictures. And actually, I met a great guy at the Glenrothes Camera Club, and he spent time with me. And I remember photographing a fire, and there was nowhere to get the pictures developed at the weekend, so I phoned the Glenrothes Camera Club, and the guy came out on his day off. He showed me how to develop films, and that was the very first time I had a picture printed in the local newspaper, which was the Glenrothes Gazette.
Wow.
And that gave me a real buzz. It's a cliche, but when you see that, the picture actually developing in this tray of chemicals, and you see something, and it's just like magic, and that just gave me a massive buzz,
I could feel the excitement when you're talking about it just appearing in front of you.
Yeah, I was even moving my hand. I know it's audio, but I was even moving my hands there, to kind of the whole process was.
What experiences, because you've had a lot of experience in the media industry, is there anything that's happened that's had a lasting effect on you, or that stayed with you, or you particularly remember?
Well, there's a couple, actually, and I think one of the things I like to do is bust a few myths about press photography in particular and how it's portrayed in the media. It's usually portrayed as photographers sticking their foot in a door at somebody's house and kind of being abrasive and abrupt. And my experience has literally been the absolute opposite of that. For example, when I covered Princess Diana's funeral, several of the photographers who knew Princess Diana very well were literally breaking their hearts, because they had a very good relationship with Diana, and they were losing a good friend. And to see them openly crying at this huge event was a real eye-opener for me. Other things that have personally involved me were the Dunblane tragedy. Oh, yeah. It was absolutely a horrendous tragedy to cover, but again, you have to put your suit of armour on and you have to go and do it because the world wants news about something like that. But what I normally did most of my life was I would dip in and out of people's lives, and one thing I changed about that was I met a young golfer who was a real prodigy. And I decided that I wouldn't just dip in and out of this person's life. I'd get involved with this wee golfer and see what his life was going to be like, see how far he could go. And I spent about 4 or 5 years covering lots of stories about this young man. And so, it was a real roller coaster, but I became friends with him and I became friends with his mum and dad. I got involved in the story much more personally than I normally would, and it was just an amazing thing to be involved in. Was being able to not just turn up one day, take pictures of somebody, and then never see them again.
So, almost from what you're saying, I'm getting the impression it's almost like it was a mentorship experience for you with this young golfer.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we were learning off each other, really, because I was watching a little kid aged 4 hitting this golf ball with amazing skill and precision, and I just wanted to know more about what makes someone so talented. And then you meet the parents, and you suddenly realise that you click with them, and then before you know it, you're saying, "Can I come and see him at this event? Can I come and see him at that event?" And then you get involved in actually helping to promote him. And I mean, this wee boy went to, to America to show off his talent, went to Ireland, and I was involved in that, and I got really involved in it. And I think when people were, because I think what happens is the media will build a person up, and then they might begin to sort of chip away at that. And I was taking these things personally because I knew what the people were like. They were real people, and I think we can forget that in the media, that the people that you do stories about are real, and they have real lives,
And real feelings and emotions. And
yeah, exactly, real feelings. And some things that people write in the media can be quite hurtful, even though they don't actually know what's going on,
Now, you're a campaigner for mental health awareness. Can you tell us how that came about?
Well, it's a strange one because I never ever thought of myself getting involved in mental health at all. But when I look back, I realised that I've been involved in it sort of unofficially for quite a while, just helping people. And I got involved with something called Cultural Prescriptions, which was run by Fife Cultural Trust, and using photography as a way as a kind of therapy. It was people who were using the NHS, both the physical side of things and the mental side of things, were asked if they wanted to learn a little bit about photography and come out and do a day every week to study photography. And it was a compliment to maybe the fact that they were getting pain relief medication, or they might have been getting other therapies. But what it did do is it brought people out who are maybe suffering from anxiety and depression, and it just gave people a bit of a focus. And I realised that by doing that, I was actually improving people's mental health as well as obviously trying to improve their photography. And we did improve the photography as well, but you could really see people's eyes light up when they came in the room, and they were learning new things. A huge buzz.
Because you can see with creative pursuits, it's not so much the getting there, it's the journey to getting there. And like you say about people's eyes lighting up when they're undertaking these pursuits, it's pretty an amazing thing to see, and you're a big part of that.
Yeah, it was amazing to see, and what you could do for that couple of hours is you could make people take the focus away from what was going on with them, with their health, and you could see them just get involved in something else, and their mind would be totally taken up with learning a new skill. Or, I used to give people homework, and I used to hear people groaning about homework, but then they'd come back and it was done.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's great, because they've gone back to their lives, but they're still willing to go back and do some homework and come in with it the next week and show me, So it was having an effect, not just for those 2 hours, but obviously for some time during the week as well, when they're taking the time to do that.
What effect was that having on you, David? Being involved in this?
Yeah, it was the beginning of me realising that I could do that I could do things for other people, and it actually made me feel quite good. I would be honest, Lisa, and say up to that point, a lot of my career was probably focused on me, what's it me kind of thing. And then I realised that I wasn't conscious of giving back, but I realised how it made me feel when I could see other people getting a bit of joy and happiness out of what I was giving to them. And that kind of made me reevaluate my own life. It's like, well, how much was it about selfishness, and how much of it is it about actually helping other people? And I could see there was a wee shift there in what my priorities were after that.
Now, you're involved with the Scottish Association for Mental Health. Can you tell us about that, David?
Yeah, again, that's just one of those things I really fell into. I had no thoughts about actually doing something like that as a job. So I answered an advert online, and the first requirement of being able to apply for that job, was that you had to have lived experience of mental health and be on a recovery journey. And when I was in London, a lot of things came to a bit of a head, and I was suffering from anxiety, and I went and got cognitive behavioural therapy in London, and it really was quite remarkable, the way it kind of helped my whole anxiety and depression cycle that's been going round there. So I felt as if I had some lived experience of anxiety and depression, and later on I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. So when I felt quite confident that I'd be able to talk about my own journey if I ever got to an interview with the Scottish Association for Mental Health. And that's what happened. It was one of the easiest application forms I've ever filled in, because the more they asked for experience of how my mental health had I suppose, went along with my life, the easier it was to write down how I began to start helping other people with their mental health through veterans agencies and through the 5 cultural prescriptions. So I went to the interview, and of course I was nervous at the interview, but I was absolutely delighted when they offered me a position as a peer support worker, and that's at Sam's Cafe in Linton Lane.
Oh yes, that's an amazing place.
It is an amazing place. I absolutely love going there. And they don't, obviously we run Sam's Cafe, but there's all sorts of other amazing things going at Linton Lane.
Oh yeah, it's a real centre, a community centre in the best way. Because I think whatever is ailing you, for want of a better way of putting that, you could walk in there and get help with something.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic place, and it really is for the community. And I think the community are really lucky to have a place like that with so many committed people this working every day for no other reason really than to help others. You know, it's fantastic.